It's a new and bright week. Let's step into it with a positive mindset of productivity and excellence. After the convention, what next? This and much more we have in our papers we'll be reviewing this morning. I am Owolabi Tosin, and Sele Life will be my co-presenter for the show this morning. Good morning, Sele.
Good morning, Tosin.
How was your week?
Great, thank you.
The weekend. So we hope you had a good weekend.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a whole lot of papers. Let's start with the Punch newspaper.
Okay, the first story from the Punch newspaper: Nigerians spend $39.66 billion on foreign education, medical tourism, and this is the report coming from the and detail of that can be found on page 27 of the Punch newspaper. State government sink deeper as NNPC plans 328 billion naira deduction in April, with the rider January-February fuel subsidy payment hit 430 billion naira. Federal government's borrowing from CBN rises by 96.54% to hit 18.16 trillion naira. Other stories still on the Punch newspaper. We have controversy around $10 million and 1.360 billion naira deposit refund from the NEXIM. And on the big story, we have new National Working Committee. APC inaugurates appeal panel on Tuesday. PDP says Adamu has fought charges. The writer following the big story says co-contestants await reform. Senate to declare Adamu seats vacant, and that's in the Senate. Transform APC ahead of the 2023 poll. Bajabia Miller tells the new National Working Committee. And PDP mocks ruling party, says the new chairman has corruption case. Wike declares presidency bid, knocks Atiku, Saraki, and others. Bread price may go up. Bakers blame forex energy crisis. Detail of that can be found on page 40. And we have Lassa fever death hit 123. Okay, let me take the story again. Lassa fever death hit 123. NCDC worries over the rate. OAU protests interference in varsity autonomy, says ASU. Detail of that can also be found on page 23 of the Punch newspaper. And we have PDP attack police over Abdul Razid 8 allegedly caught with cannabis and arms. Police claim arrest as 7 killed in Ogun Cold War. Detail of that can be found on page 9. And we have airport invasion. Stop pampering terrorists. OK State Police. Afenifere tells the federal government. 2 detained suspects excrete 165 wraps of codeine. Australia, China-bound drug seized. And AG raises 50 audit queries against NSITF, alleges 87 billion naira fraud. Detail of that also can be found on page 37 of the Punch newspaper. We also have a picture story here where we have the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo-San, and with others at the Toyota. Yes, doing an investment. Do well to get the Punch newspaper, and you can read detail of any of the story that is of interest to you.
Thank you, Sele. Moving to the news, Nigerian News Direct. Two drug dealers excrete 265 wraps of cocaine in Abuja. Oyetola Fayemi congratulates Omisori other newly elected APC national officers, and SEC laments high level of unclaimed dividends. Details of this can be found in page 17. And NCC experiences at ITU bolstering Nigeria's digital transformation, coming from Dan Bata. The big story on National Convention: APC new leaders set for 2023 election victory. The rider following the story: Adamu's emergence, roadmap to party's unity and harmony. This is from Amechi. And new chairman focused politicians, not push over, from Okorocha. Omisore, new National Working Committee members, right peg in right hole. This is from Ayola. The National Convention of all 2023, as the party's consensus produced goal-getters and experienced bridge builders to lead the party into victory during the forthcoming general election. Despite all the internal wranglings that had thrown the party into turmoil, as well as leadership tussle that preceded the convention, President Muhammadu Buhari has insisted that the party must adopt consensus to produce those who will manage the affairs in the run-up to the 2023 election. The former governor of Nasarawa State, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, Senator Iyola Omisore Azbas, have emerged through consensus at the convention organized by the party in Abuja on Saturday and early hours of Sunday. Party members and analysts who have been monitoring the event as it unfolded believe the decision to opt for the newly sworn-in National Working Committee led by Senator Abdullahi Adamu through consensus was due to their experience and leadership style. They noted that the decision would not only ensure the party remained united, but also win the 2023 general election for the party. And still on the Nigerian News Direct, we have OPEC Secretary General lands UAE today for double global event, and governor's aide arrested for assaulting traffic warden. On 2023, Wike declares for presidential race. And those are all the stories making rounds on the Nigerian News Direct.
Okay, let's take a look at Al Jazeera newspaper, starting with the big story. Disquiet as Adamu emerges APC chair, with the rider Aspera reject offer for forms reform. New party boss urges renewed faith in APC. Says PDP failed to destabilize the convention. Detail of that can be found on page 8 of the Al Jazeera newspaper. Other stories here: average Nigerians at risk of falling into poverty, and this is coming from the World Bank and is warning. The World Bank has warned that many poor Nigerians have only one chance to fall into poverty. The Global Bank, which made the declaration in a new report titled A Better Pursuit for All Nigerians 2022 Nigeria Poverty Amendment, noted that such a shock could be induced by the issue of the climate or conflict, which will further threaten Nigerians' poverty reduction efforts. And you can read detail of that story on page 13 of the Al Jazeera newspaper. Other story: a year after troops discover crash NAF jet. And you want to know more about that, check that story on page 15 of the Al Jazeera newspaper. SEC declares huge unclaimed dividends. We have on oil theft: Naira may crash to 70 Naira per USD, and this is a report coming from experts. And CBN have moved to at a 50% rise in wheat production. Observe stay-at-home face sanctions solo duo wants Anambra workers, and detail of that can be found on page 14. And still from business on the Al Jazeera, we have aviation stakeholders lament bandit invasion of Kaduna Airport. And we have South Kaduna killing Catholic Archbishop appeals for end to bloodshed. And the last story I'll be taking, which is still on the APC convention: no single delegate from Akwa Ibom party chief title cries out. And you want to know more about that story, you can look it up on page 28 of the Al Jazeera newspaper. And that's all on Al Jazeera.
Thank you, Sally. On Daily Trust, we have the governor of Rivers State, who is near some weekend, saying, I will run for 2023 presidency. Nigerians account for 12% of stillbirths globally. This is really sad, and this is an awakening call for the health sector to look into all this, because having a record of 12% of stillbirths globally and Nigeria is accounting for this, we need to look into this and look out for how we can save the mother and child, and even give out drugs that will help pregnant women at the stage of pregnancy, so that we won't have records of stillbirths and even deaths, high rate of childbirth rates and death even while at childbearing stage. So we need to look into this and give out the necessary drugs and have our hospitals being on check, so that all these things will not have records of all these things coming up in our country. And here the big story says workers groan as states cut salaries amid inflation. The riders' rationed wages put civil servants on edge. Teachers, local government workers worst hit, and government blames dwindling FAAC allocation. Sele, looking at this story where we have that even those that are hit the most have to do with teachers and local government workers. I remember when we were celebrating the Teachers' Day, we had so many promises coming out for teachers on ways that their welfare will be increased and even their salaries will be increased. And up to date, we've not had record of salaries of teachers increased. During the Teachers' Day, we had record where we have the most celebrated teacher, that's the hardworking teacher, coming up and being appreciated. And we said it on this, then we'll have to bring all the stories, bring all the news on our papers and saying we're celebrating teachers, we'll look into their welfare, we'll look into ways we can help the teachers in the educational sector. But now we see this issue that they are the worst affected, and we have it on those states, the government is owing workers 3 months civil end, while in Niger State, local government workers which are in the primary school, they are paid in percentage. You can imagine in Niger State. So you can see that the take-home salary of a teacher in the local government or a local government worker is nothing to write home about. And these people have families to take care of. They have needs that need to be met. This state is paid 4,000 naira as a monthly salary. Say 4,000 naira. You transport yourself to school. No wonder you see that when you go to this local government, you go to the schools, you see that the teachers are not even, they are nonchalant about the education. They are nonchalant about even giving out information to these children or even teaching these children. They just go about their own normal activities. You see a teacher signing in to work at 8 o'clock and it's taking permission, whereas they close by 12. They go and do their own. 4,000 is not paid to them, and they still owe them their salary. So it's that they prefer to do other things that will bring in income to their table than giving attention to the educational sector. You see children going to school, teachers are not teaching them. Teachers prefer to sit down. This is affecting the educational sector. As we keep on saying that the teachers' welfare need to be increased, we need to see that if it is increased and it is even paid, it have a way of affecting the children, not doing anything, than even go to school. So we need to look into this. And we have in Gombe State, workers under the payroll of the 11 local government council are yet to start receiving their minimum wage. So you see that all these things are affecting teachers, affecting local government workers, of local government workers, because if it is increased and it's paid, it's not about it being increased, it's all about it being paid at the right time. We see where police said that to what they've listed that they need to be met. We need to look into all this so that we not have issues where protests will come up before all these things can be met. Thank God the Labour Congress are looking into this, and for you to come look into the salaries and the welfare of your staff, the teachers and even the local government workers.
Of course, Tosi, and just to add up to what you say, looking at the fact that finally the local government have an autonomy now, so by this looking at the fact that they need to cut down their salaries as a result of all this. I know when I was reading the Punch paper, you could see the amount that we spend of money we are paying to other countries. We're building the educational sector. Meanwhile, ours here is suffering. So just like you rightly said, I just hope that the federal government will actually do something about it, because just as they've given the freedom or the allocation, looking at the fact that local government are on their own right now, that the money that is supposed to, like you say, you only give what you receive. If you don't receive good attention coming from the state level or the local government level, definitely will affect what you give. So we hope that the government are actually paying attention.
Yes, and still on Daily Trust newspaper, Buhari defends choice of ex-PDP member flee as bandit launch fresh attack on Niger. Revisit ban on dollar scale to BDCs, APCON tells CBN. And on the front page, we have a picture story. Do well to visit to look out for stories that interest you on the Daily Trust newspaper.
Okay, on the Voice of Liberty, we have no administration has touched Nigerians like Buhari's new APC chairman Adamu says. The APC convention, Buhari cautioned possible losers not to discredit the party. And on Kaduna airport attack, Buhari fiddles with Nigeria burns. PDP says APC has conceded sovereignty to terrorists. I actually hope that something will be done about this. Just, I think it's like every week we tend to record an attack on Kaduna, and not just Kaduna, but on our airport. Then this calls for danger, because I know that the federal government are supposed to do something, even the state government in Kaduna. What are they doing concerning this? If the bandits have actually taken control of the airports there, then this really sends a very bad. Kaduna government cannot be everywhere, but that is why you have other security agencies that work with you. What are they doing? The aviation sector cannot be taken by terrorists, because this is one of the sectors we tend to brag with, and if they take control, and other places are safe for people to actually use. And on the picture story here, we have don't make 2023 election do or die affair. This is coming from the Sudan to politicians. And the Sudan of Sokoto, His Eminence Mohammed Saeed Abubakar III has warned that as the 2023 general election draws closer, Politics 22 National Quota Triton competition hosted by the Bauchi State Government in collaboration with Usman Danfodio University Sokoto when it comes to 2023. So a do or die affair, and I always say this leadership is about service, and if we see it from that point of view, then we will not take it to be a do or die affair. Another story still on the Voice of Liberty, leadership. Nigerians are unfortunate global citizens, and this is coming from JICA. And Sit at Home Directive reports to work on Mondays or face sanction. Soludo wants an app, so you could actually take up the paper, the Voice of Liberty, and know more about the police app that you can use to report any police officer. And that's all on the Voice of Liberty.
Thank you, Sally. On Daily Sun newspaper, total shutdown of universities. And again today we have the record of protest and blockage of all state house of assemblies. Students are going out to protest, and we know now so that their plea can be heard by all these people. And what happened? They were shot. We had record of students dying even in such process. And today students are going to go out to block state house at home. The union are tired of dialoguing with those in charge, with the education. Nothing evil will come out of it. It is not bad to protest, but it should be protest on a peaceful ground. Is there anything difficult in saying I want to go back to school? All that those teachers, the lecturers, they are needed to learn. Teachers, this is what we are saying, starting from the local government, their salaries are not being paid. And even if it's paid, you see that they are talking about all these issues of their demand not being met right from 2021. So I just hope that when students go out to protest, the security will not go against them in issues, hearken to the plea of students, because this protest is for the government to hear to their cry and bring back. And PDP, Afenifere knocks federal government over bandit attack on Kaduna airport. And over the week we had this issue where bandit attacked the Kaduna airport. And we know that the airport in Kaduna is far from the city central, and it's even in, like, the environment is more of a forest. And this is not the first time that even the word by this bandit. If we have issues like this, we should not wait till lives are lost. We should not wait till issues escalate more than this. We should look into places being attacked. We had students that were kidnapped even in the school of forestry, and we see the airport being attacked like more often. And now we see that it's not even just the staff, not just even people who use the airport, people who come in and go out of the state, but you see that all this is affecting Kaduna State as a whole and giving them a transport. We see that attacks on the highways are rampant now. Attack even in the area. Talking about this, we just know that the Kaduna State governor will do something about it and find a lasting solution to these attacks in Kaduna State and issues of insecurity even in the state sponsors. And Igbo elders unveil stance action plans this week. So our Igbo elders unveil stance action plan this week. Initial Raise says he's best man to wrest power from APC. 14 governors for Dubai Investment Summit. Details can be found in page 8. And on 2023 Guba, Abia in disarray over PDP zoning. Wabara, Abaribe, youths, others reject zoning to Abia North Central. Stakeholders remind us of bereaved relative demands 10 million naira ransom. Still on insecurity, enough of violence, bloodshed. Archbishop Kaigama is saying this. APC is from Adamu, and your imagined celebration of illegality, corruption, says PDP. The last story on the Dailies on Stop Torturing Kanu, Igbo youths tell.
Banks and others generating 86.67 billion naira in 2 years. Nigeria losses 3.5 trillion naira to poor maritime logistics. Detail of that can be found on page 7. And we have the ASU and federal government face off NAS takes protests to streets and highways. 2023 Delta commissioners and others resign join election battles. Demands investigation. And the big story on convention, the ex-PDP members selected APC ex-school to repent and change their ways. Unity puts parliament for APC. This is coming from the Senate President Lawan. This is kill arms, cartridge ammunition recovered as military intensify offensive 2 and 6 of the New Telegraph. Governor Wike joins the 2023 presidential race, says he is the man to remove APC. We also have a story APC's elected chairmanship with them rejoicing. So if you're interested in any of those stories, you can look it up on the New Telegraph.
Cheers to this. While Petrol says, cheers to this. You guys are doing extremely to the leadership newspaper. Here, Vice Chancellor seeks virtual learning in universities. SEC raises concern about happen fiscal discipline to stabilize Naira. While on 2023, Southeast PDP backs Southern governors on zoning. Rider, new APC chairman still facing trial over 15 billion naira fraud. This is coming from Mustafa pledges support for new National Working Committee. Federal government committed for a better Cody. Governor seeks $15 billion invest at Esele Cantonment in Rivers State. We commend them for the good work they are doing.
Okay, let's take a look at the Wheel newspaper. Custom DG Ali slums. And on 2023, APC survives explosion. Selects new Leaves Party from the brink. And we have convention 72 members officer. You can do well to get the Wheel and you can read detail of that. And that's all on the Wheel news.
Paid Gencos by NBet. 3 oil workers arraigned for alleged murder, illegal bunkering in Ondo. And still on 2023, Wike declares for president. We may back dark horse in succession contest. Tinubu, Oshibanjo, Bello, Amici supporters to destabilize our convention. This is from Adamu. Labels APC parties of chaos. Imagine how Amici's candidate flawed Abi's man. This is from Prince Will. Corporates borrowing via Quera. Value of issuance falls at 76.8% to 370. Bleak future. Still on 2023 presidency, why we can't afford to throw contest open. This is from the crime proceeds to pay for post-UTME expenses. This is coming from a suspect. And Kaduna Airport attack, Reps Minority Caucus demands investigation. It's an attempt to reenact joints to cripple activities in universities. We'll do all we can to promote electoral integrity, coming from End. That's all on the Vanguard newspaper.
Okay, let's take a look at the inquiry, the Abuja. And we have 2023 press on page 3 of the paper. And we have Abuja missing pupils. We are finished. This is coming from parents. Fear police compromise as proprietress released and missing in the Abuja school. So this is really sad in a time where things are hard, in a time where the number of looking at when we're having the proprietress of the school being released the same day. It's actually sad, and I think more needs his or her word is out there, not even having an idea whether they are alive or not. So I think the police can do more when it comes to that, and the school. And I know this will send as a signal or a bad omen, because people will also feel that it's an employing on the police to see that they can do more to check and investigate the
revelation the parents made. They said when they went to pick their children, they were told that the children have already gone home. Who will come pick your words? And if you're not available at that time, the closing hour, you call the school authority and tell them someone will come in and pick these children, and you give their own, leaving your children to be picked even by neighbors. We should avoid this thing, because gone are the days when this child and take this child home. But now you see that we can't. No one is to be trusted. We're even kidnapped, even on the highway. We keep seeing issues that students are even kidnapped on the highway, and we still have records where people will children to the mercy of neighbors. We should not leave children to the mercy of a senior colleague or an older person will carry these children home. We need to give parents this form. Call in if you're not having a high rate in our country. The youths are not left out. Talk more of even little children. Innocent lives are taken and used for all these activities. We need to be conscious of what we are doing as a school authority and teachers meeting. Bring up issues like this, because once bitten, twice shy. We should not keep quiet when all these things are happening. It's really sad coming from this, and we just hope that something will be done. Even with the investigation, we just hope that these children will be found and pay into the life of these people. So something needs to be done, and we hope that more investigations will be made to find out.
When missing in Abuja since last Tuesday may end up becoming a long and tedious journey for the parents whose Rehoboth, who is 2, were reported missing from the Star Child Academy. Kabusa, mother of the children, Mrs. Joy, had gone to pick them. Like you said, we really need to do something about that. Other stories on the Inquirer, we have FCTA staff retirees receive 2.9 billion naira salary arrears. Abuja clean up 2 months, Ganduji resident protests attack. Detail of that can be found on page 6. And we have other story. APC didn't hold a national convention, rather jamboree. This is coming from Dalong. Detail of that can also be found on page 15 of the Inquirer. If you're interested in any of the stories, do well to get the paper.
At the Motels, party faithfuls, assures of reconciliation. Open Doors administration says APC-led federal government ceded sovereignty to terrorists. This is coming from PDP. Alleges Buhari's fiddles while Nigeria bonds. Bemoan abnormally high debt service to revenue ratio. And Wike declares for contest for president, vows to tackle insecurity. On 2023 election, I will ask Tinubu to step down for me. This is from Rochas Okorocha, table coming from Akwa Ibom government. And on 2023 presidential election, Jonathan gives presidency condition to join APC. Nigerian need for president. This is coming from Peter Obi. You know that no one will come out and aspire for this position and say he's not the kind of person that Nigeria need. We have a whole lot that we need to be met, whole lot on the table of Nigerians, ranging from insecurity, ranging from the lack of job, ranging from that whoever will assume the position of a president come 2023 is not a time for he or she to relax. It's a time to put hands on the ready to fight this cause, put hands together with the hands of Nigerians to fight this cause and move the country to a greater place.
Naira deposit despite sustained incursion by fintech. And on 2023, Southeast PDP backs Southern governor stance on zoning of presidency. Raise the alarm. The House Minority Caucus demand investigation into that. And the big story, Buhari, our unity at convention signposts victory in 2020 begins 2-week warning strike. And detail of that can be found on page 48 of this day newspaper. And the last story here says Nigerian governors in Dubai for
and on national economy, SEC laments high level of unclaimed dividends. The Security Commission in Abuja on Sunday said Mr. Lamidu Yuguda, the Director General of SEC, expressed the regret when Professor Da appealed to investors to mandate their account for electronic payments to reduce the number of unclaimed dividends. He knows to claim their dividends, and this has led to huge unclaimed dividends. The Commission have been educating the Ajaokuta Steel Plant resuscitation project completion doubtful, 14 months to Buhari's exit. With the Ajaokuta Steel Plant during his presidency may be in limbo as the Russian firm saddled with the opus of injecting a 460 survivor has expressed reservation over the possibility of completing the project under the Memorandum of Understanding, which is the MOU between Nigeria and Russia. Now coordinator of CSO Coalition for Ajaokuta Steel Company Revival, Mohammed Atta, said there are several factors militating against the revival of Ajaokuta Steel Company. Atta said to complete the steel company. The deal between the two leaders was reached on the sideline of the Russia-African Summit on Sochi, Russia in October 2019. Russian engineering and construction group Metprom will be working to bring the facility operation. Believe you me, if this facility is brought to operation, it will open so many doors because it will bring the synergy between our country and even foreign countries. To this place will be brought back. Even if this administration cannot bring this Ajaokuta Steel Company back, the administration that will succeed should look into bringing Ajaokuta Steel to retail and FX demand. Absence of single window hindering Nigeria's non-oil export potential. Energy leaders to watch. That's all on the national economy.
All right, thank you, Tosin. Let's take a look at the Nation newspaper. Of that can be found on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. And we have Sanu Nasu begins strike. No work, no pay, says the federal government. And you can actually see that on page 5 also of the Nation newspaper. And we tend to have a court order here that have Nikon court orders committal proceeding against other that was given against Amcon and the MD and others. And that's all on the Nation newspaper.
Edge. And we have production losses in Nigeria's oil terminal for March 306.2k and of Ojudu 1.1 million. For brass, we have 325.1k and best performing stocks in first quarter. To salvage Nigeria's oil industry, professionals must run it. This is for FIRS revenue growing slower than federal government spending. Foreign investment in Nigeria hit 5 years low. That's all on the business day.
Okay, still on the world of business, we have this coming from the PM. The Prime Minister yesterday said her government is working to build Bangladesh. With fake export, TK33 create incentive scheme in 5 years. And we have investigation custom officials. And you can read detail of that story on the front page of the business. A dentist latest victim of raisin smuggling incident on Dhaka Street.
Viewers.
Oh, well, it's another new day. So make sure you go out there and be extraordinary because you
and beyond. Have a fruitful day.